Welcome to the show. Today we shift our attention to the Galana Kulalu Food Security Project, particularly the demonstration farm that eventually will cover 10,000 acres of land. And this project is meant to provide wider lessons on the attainment of the anticipated 1 million acres of land under irrigation across the country. Remember, this is one of the top pledges of the Jubilee administration.
Galana Kulalu project is driven more by politics, and that is where the worrying aspect of it comes in.
There was no mistake, I can assure you there was no mistake. It's only that the cost was too high and there was a cry from the Kenyans, and the president gave a directive that needs to be reassessed afresh.
What has been attained so far in the demonstration farm here in Galana? What are the challenges and what is the way forward?
I wish to assure the country that yes, Galana is good value for money for this country.
And you may also be asking, what if the project fails? And what if it succeeds?
Viability, we have no doubt that this project is viable. We are only testing the aspect of implementation.
Now, the Parliamentary Committee on Agriculture is expected to visit this demonstration farm for a fact-finding mission, basically to assess the progress of the project. We will be giving you details in a moment. But first, here is a look at our fact sheet. The Galana Kulalu Food Security Project, that is situated in two counties, that is Kilifi and Tana River counties in Coast Region, was launched on the 9th of January 2014 by President Uhuru Kenyatta. The first phase is the implementation of a 10,000-acre model farm that is meant to showcase how large-scale mechanized irrigation can be done in Kenya with the involvement of the private sector eventually. The government's pledge was to replicate the model farm in order to attain 1 million acres of land under irrigation across the country, according to the National Irrigation Board. It is a multi-billion shilling project under the collaboration of the Kenyan and Israeli governments, initially worth 14 billion shillings and now scaled down to about 7 billion shillings. The cost and implementation of the project is now the subject of investigation by the National Assembly Oversight Committee on Agriculture. It is 3 years now since the Galana Kulalu Food Security Project was launched.
My government will create favorable conditions for private sector participation in this project and will provide required resources to ensure provision of key infrastructure.
In the public domain, it remains debatable whether the project is viable, whether it is worth the taxpayers' money, is it properly managed, and was the cost inflated? Mohammed Noor is the chairman of the National Assembly Oversight Committee on Agriculture, Livestock and Cooperatives.
First of all, the 1 million acre irrigation within 5 years was too ambitious. That one I have to say, it's a fact that it's literally impossible to achieve in terms of financing and both in terms of groundwork. Nevertheless, it is good that the country has to give itself a target.
So it is all about the size, the cost and the magnitude. That was the initial concern, according to Noor, with the government eventually removing the non-essential items that pushed the cost up. The Oversight Committee had at the end of the year 2015 recommended the suspension of the project until an agreement was reached to work with a budget that is only relevant to the production of the maize under test.
When I took over this ministry, I was aware of the concerns. I did promise Parliament then and Kenyans that I will form a task force to address the concerns and to look at how we can successfully complete and deliver to Kenyans the Galana Kulalu food security project. After 5 months in this ministry, we have, through a task force that was formed between our ministry, the Ministry of Agriculture, the National Treasury, the State Law Office, and the Presidential Delivery Unit, taken time to review the contract, to review the entire project, and we have come with a way forward that will see most of the components of the 14 billion project phased out to ensure we deliver the same model farm of 10,000 acres at half the price.
So what exactly has been removed from the project and how much will be saved?
One, the maize mill. Maize mill would have costed 3 billion, and its operation and maintenance would have costed about 1 billion. Also, other components, remember that it's a new frontier, so there are going to be schools as well as hospital and police station. So all those components were removed, which would have costed another 3 billion. So the total cost of reduction is about 7 billion. That's why the cost of Galana, the 10,000 model farm, actually reduced to 7.2.
The other commonly asked question is how much has been spent so far and on what? The National Irrigation Board told Parliament that only 2.5 billion shillings had been spent on machinery and production.
Irrigation component is continuing, and the prices, as you have been told, have been reduced to 7 billion, which is almost half of the original cost. And we were told originally 7 billion shillings who have been spent, which we have proven later that what has so far been paid is only 2.5 billion, against the cost of so many heavy equipments, which we are told they are on site, which is an issue that we need to go and confirm what is on site. The water intakes, the pipings, all those equipments required are ready. The ground has been cleared, the bush clearing has been done 100%, the fencing has been done 100%. So it is almost estimated to be 2.5 billion against 40% of implementation.
The chairman says the Oversight Committee has yet to match what is on paper with the reality on the ground. But for now, the standoff regarding the budget has been resolved, and the Israeli government that is funding the project is set to release some 6.5 billion shillings.
The balance of the project is 5.5 in total, including the outstanding debts. Outstanding debts plus the work that has not been done. Because it is 7 billion less 2.5 billion, which the government has already paid. So that leaves us with a balance of 5-point-something billion shillings. And what we have acquired is almost 6.5 billion, which will leave us over roughly about a billion shillings surplus from the Israeli loan. Yeah. So the government of Kenya will not be able to invest any cents.
The Galana Kulalu project is driven more by politics, and that is where the worrying aspect of it comes in. It's driven because it's one of the key landmark projects of the Jubilee government. However, knowing food security irrigation, it should be more of an enterprise, agricultural enterprise project. And so when we went to the Galana project, there were big figures, yet we are just at the initial model farm stage, meaning I think we rushed into perceiving a grand project which should have been done in phases.
Alongside concerns over the cost of the project, the parliamentary committee was not originally convinced that single sourcing was in order. The contractor for the demonstration farm is an Israeli company known as Green Arava, but now this is the explanation from both sides.
Remember, these are government-to-government arrangement. And government-to-government arrangement is the government of Israel who will tell us whom they want to work with. It's not the business of our country to know which farm we are going to work with.
It is government to government, and from the word go, this negotiation was government to government. The Israeli ambassador has been involved, so it is. We have proven that beyond reasonable doubt, it is within the legal framework of procurement.
No, apparently, you may not. You may try. currently there are irrigation programs on maize, especially the center pivot that we were seeing being implemented at Galana Kulalu. There are farmers in Narok area who are doing maize on pivot center irrigation programs. And so I'm not saying that you know, they should have been the ones who have the silver bullet, but what I'm trying to say is that we went into it with external expertise and missed what we know we already have developed over the years with our local farmers and commercial farmers.